In continuing, I want to mention again about how Kamala Harris has the maggot world just freaking out about demons, about the apocalypse, about all sorts of things that display their crazed, sick, totally fucked Christianity. It's incredible. It's always the end of the world for these MAGA creeps, right? Ever since the escalator ride of the orange vomit in 2015, there's been this nuance that he put out there, his message. Only I can fix it. And if you remember back, and I don't, but I'm quoting from a piece at MSNBC Daily, back to the 2016 Republican presidential nomination event, where Trump stood there with his naked face hanging out, screaming, only I can fix it. It being the United States as envisioned through the eyes of these racist pig bastards who comprise the MAGA movement. Only Donald Trump, Donald Jesus Christ God Trump, only Donald Trump could bring back the superior power of the white race in this country and force the Negroes and other coloreds into, well, black jobs, right? But especially since Kamala Harris has become the Democratic nominee. Oh, my God. The messaging among the maggot white devils has gone just totally hysterical, totally off the hook. I mean, these people are losing their shit every place they go. Trump's most prominent boosters have been talking about imminent totalitarian government, end times, biblical demons. And, it's been said many times, irony is dead, and it truly is. But for these MAGA fuckers to talk about we're on the edge of totalitarian government when their own leader has already declared himself to be a totalitarian, it's insane. I mean, literally insane, crazy. But these biblical demons and the end times, let's remember who wrote the book of Revelation, a drug-using freak on an island in the Aegean Sea named John, who had nothing else to do but to eat magic mushrooms and fucking hallucinate all over the island and come up with these seven-headed demons and bitches and bastards and scum and snakes and all kinds of things. And the four horsemen, pestilence and death and famine and war. John of Patmos was a fucking crazy man. But, he was one that the Christian devils now, they worship John, who wrote Revelation, almost as much as they worship Trump. Not quite as much, but almost as much. Because you show me an evangelical Christian who won't immediately quote all kinds of shit from Revelation, and I'll show you an evangelical Christian who is, well, dead, probably. John of Patmos. Oh, my God. So these MAGA bastards just dismiss all criticism as unworthy of discussion. We're not going to talk to you. You know what you're talking about. You don't love Jesus, God, Christ, Trump, Donald. You don't love him, so fuck you. And the accusations that Trump is crazy or is a fascist or is doing insane shit, that to people whose minds, they're shown as people whose minds are afflicted with what the right-wingers call Trump derangement syndrome. Yeah, well, I suffer from that, and I don't suffer, I celebrate it. And it isn't a mental disease, it's a mental revelation. Trump is fucking crazy. I mean, we all know that. And yet, this term deranged is the only word that can be used to describe the kind of craziness coming from the maggots and their loudest boosters. You take a look at Josh Hawley. You take a look at the hillbilly who thinks he's going to be vice president. You take a look at some of these fuckers, Ted Cruz, DeSantis. I mean, these people are insane. You know they are. And that's not just some offhand comment. In order to look at the real world, as one assumes these maggots are supposed to be able to do, and come to any conclusion other than Trump is a lying, grifting psycho, would indicate that they themselves are, playing with a third of a deck. So it's Trump now, the orange Christ Jesus Messiah Donald creature, and some of his closest allies and his boosters who've been talking about totalitarian government. If Kamala Harris is allowed, Jesus, and the end times, and biblical demons. Ah! In just the last week, these maggot pundits all over the internet and certain sewers on terrestrial radio, they're warning that Kamala Harris is, quote, Hitler and Stalin combined 200 times, and a commie who will choose a running mate who supports allowing men to beat up women in the Olympics. And quote, oh my God, damn fuck. This is madness. This is just a boiling pot of crazy. And it's, just boiling all over the stove and the kitchen floor. It's horrifying. And they also, these end times freak fuckers, they also totally ballistic about the opening ceremony at the Paris Olympics. They saw that as the end of Western civilization because a bunch of happy-go-lucky LGBTQ people who were having a good time got together and put together a tableau that some of these Christian nutfucks insisted was a reproduction of Da Vinci's Last Supper. I mean, that's how insane it's gotten. And the nutfucks have singled out one woman on a Zoom fundraiser call for Kamala Harris's campaign as another harbinger of the end times. Now, I'm not sure who that was. It'll probably pop up here in a minute. And then you have Elon Musk. This racist South African quasi-Nazi. I mean, don't forget, he spent the first 18, 19 years of his life living in apartheid South Africa. So his perceptions of what constitutes order and stability and reality were formed in an apartheid state run by a mad, fucking insane white man. So, of course, Musk is going to, did swallow all of that whole. So he's a billionaire. He's a Trump supporter. He finally freed himself from pretending he's not a huge fart in the MAGA wind. He brought back, Elon Musk did, one of his favorite apocalyptic buzzwords to describe Harris. She's an extinctionist. Oh, my God. An extinctionist. Yeah. To describe her. And also because he's a really serious and adult, he has SpaceX and Tesla and all this other shit. He called her Shamala. Not Kamala, but Shamala, because, he's a grown-up, right? And Musk once reserved that term, an extinctionist, for environmentalists, or really anyone concerned about climate change. But according to MSNBC Daily, he's since expanded that term to anyone that involves the mysterious and horror movie-sounding woke mind virus. And obviously, to him, Shamala is deeply infected. In 2023, Musk told one of the cultural farts that I don't understand his popularity at all, Joe Rogan. Musk told Rogan, quote, it's essentially the extinctionists. It is that they're propagating the extinction of humanity and civilization, end quote. Because they're talking about global warming. climate change. I mean, what the fuck is wrong with these people? How do you go this blatant insane in concert with each other? There are thousands, millions of people in this country who have decided that Christ Jesus Trump Donald extinctionist apocalyptic revelation is that. And they worship him. And they bow before him. And they suck up to him, especially the politicians. What the fuck can Trump give them? Except chaos, disorder. The very things that Elon Musk learned in apartheid South Africa that one should avoid at all costs. If it meant killing a bunch of black Africans, well, kill the fuckers. They're not human anyway. Right? So Elon has brought that sickness, that apartheid racist sickness, and he's also anti-Semitic, to the United States. And so he came up with the Tesla. Oh, big fucking deal. He came up with SpaceX. Oh, hooray. He's also, like Trump, an absolute vampire. And he's sunk his teeth, along with Trump, along with Hawley, along with DeSantis, along with so many of these fuckers. They have, in tandem, sunk their fangs into the struggle for democratic government in this country. And they're draining it. They think they are. They're sucking everything they can suck out of the life force of this country. And they have to be stopped. I mean, I don't think anybody disagrees with the idea that they have to be stopped. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. You know, the Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.